Hi, this is Paul Palmer, and I'm back again with Natasha. Now, I just want to continue on from last time's conversation, Natasha. Are you okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
So last time we were talking about the Ishikawa diagram or the fishbone diagram, and what we came up with was the invisible areas that you need to think about relating to people. Now, as we were talking about, the key thing that people normally come up with when they're talking about people is the training. But there's so much more to it than that. And we were about to go into a further discussion, but I know we ran out of time. So I thought we might continue that today. So over to you, I suppose, is probably the best way to do it.
Well, one of the things that organizations often do is they say, if they've got a problem that they think is messy, that they don't want to deal with, and they haven't quite sorted it out, they relegate it to training. And training is supposedly going to fix all the massive problems, and training rarely does. Because the way training is traditionally done organizationally, um, you send people off site, maybe it's a day, maybe it's a half day, maybe they go to a week training. Well, from the folks who come to our trainings, they get really excited, they get their minds changed, they want to do new things, they go back to the organization, and the organization is doing things the way they've always done it. So what the organization is trying to do is fix the people, and the people are trying to fix the organization. So there's this push pull, and the system of the organization is going to withstand a few people going off to training. Then the next piece on the training is that within 30 days, and we've measured this, other people have measured this, within 30 days, about 90 to 95% of what those people learned on that training program is gone.
Yeah.
So unless
makes me think of the SOP training that people often do in the pharmaceutical industry. They have a problem with an output, a result, a test result maybe, and they say, oh well, that's because this person didn't follow this procedure. So maybe they've got 100 procedures on the list, and it's one of those on the list that they've not followed. So that one person goes away and gets their retraining. Maybe it's just reading the SOP. Maybe there's a bit more support work, and you go through it once, but they go back to the production process. They go back to the line that they were working on, and everybody else is still working the same way. Everybody's already read that procedure previously, and in general, they've already been to that training that they get fed back with again. They don't think about, well, is it the system that's not working? Is it the way we're treating the people?
It usually is, and often people come off of training and then they go to the quote real world, and then people say, all right, you've done the training, now let's show you how it's really done. Yeah. Right? Sometimes there's a disconnect between what they're learning and what's actually happening. So training in and of itself and alone should never be the final solution. It should be part of a larger process where we know how to get them ready, we show them the things they need to learn, we prepare the groundwork so that they can have those new behaviors or talents or capacities that have been built really take hold and strengthened, and then a follow-up to that. So there have to be multiple points to really benefit from the investment of training. And very often organizations are trying to shortcut it. So they're trying to just nickel and dime down to the most minimum thing. Well, can't you train that in a day? And very often I've turned down training because they wanted me to do something in an hour that takes a week for people to learn. So they want the quick fix, and we have to stop thinking of training as the quick fix. It's not. It's part of the process. It needs to be there consistently, embedded in a larger strategy.
That makes me think of the regulatory inspections. One of the services that I provide is support and preparation for regulatory inspections. And when you get an observation at the end of it. You have to identify the root cause and say what you're going to do about it. And one of the core things that people used to say a lot of the time was retrain. We'll retrain that individual. Or that individual failed to perform as expected, so we're removing them from the organization. But that's not addressing the underlying problem.
That underlying problem might have happened in the recruitment process where they didn't even recruit the person who thinks in the right way for the job in the first place. That's a systemic issue. Or in that context, the person wasn't rewarded or encouraged to do it the right way. Like, back to our earlier conversation.
Yeah, right at the beginning. I find that the reliance on just reading SOPs is a significant failing.
Just read it, it's all there.
Yeah, read it, it's all there, but you're not going to see it for the next year. Yeah. You can spend 20 minutes, because that's all you've got, reading it now. And we're going to ask you to read it again if you do it wrong. But if you're doing it right, you won't see that or the other 50 procedures you've just read for another year or two until they get updated again.
Yeah, and our brains have short-term memory, and they process in short-term memory, as you know, and they process in long-term memory, as you know. So what gets in short-term, what stays in long-term?
I like the way you say, as you know.
Well, you do.
Okay. Well, I think we need to, I'm getting called away by my wife, so I think we're going to have to leave it there for today, Natasha.
You got to report to the right and higher authority there, Paul.
I do, and it's not for training, I'm sure.
She's going to train you on something.
Yeah, answering the phone. Okay, Natasha, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, Paul.
See you soon. Bye-bye. It's Paul Palmer and Natasha Todorovic-Cowan talking today about training and getting it right with the people.